Well, let me answer for the board, okay, because we have discussed it.
Okay.
And frankly, we're a little disgusted at that map up there. And we don't think that it's realistic for this town, and we don't think it'll go through as it is. And I see no reason, and I don't think the town sees any reason why they should spend time going over a road agreement or talking to the fire department and so forth, until we have a better understanding of what is doable. But having said that, I do know that you have asked the fire department to sit down. You have a meeting with them at 4 o'clock, and they've invited myself and another person, and we'll sit in on that meeting.
Okay, I have a number of different topics. That same response apply to all these. So we'll talk about roads. So the town won't provide an analysis or someone who can speak with a contact person regarding road impacts, potential road impacts.
We're not ready to talk about a road program yet.
Interconnection for water or sewer purposes?
Again, I think you're premature.
Okay.
I think you've got a long haul before you're ready to talk about these things. Let's talk about the siting first.
In other words, without, Urban can contradict me or put me down if I'm saying something wrong. You're asking us to answer questions that would deal with something that is a violation of our zoning law.
No, I'm asking for a contact name of someone we can speak with in more detail about emergency response services, fire response.
Just like we've identified.
You've already contacted the fire department. They're
Are they the right person to speak with? Are they important to speak with? Is there anyone else we should be speaking with?
The county,
Yeah.
yeah, the county,
Okay,
yeah,
so that's for fire.
and emergency EMS services, that kind of thing. Ambulance transportation, that would be definitely Jefferson County. EOC, and we could find you the number.
Well, just to be clear, we're with this juncture, we're still talking about impacts and potential impacts. And to the extent a proposed project has an incremental impact on services that are currently available in the town, we're trying to identify what that impact will be and to what extent we need to mitigate that impact. Similarly with the roads.
Well, you can see our resistance, because if we still, at this juncture, in 24 days, you have the ability to put in the application on the 15th of February. And you started the PIP in September. And we still don't know what you're thinking of as far as numbers, size. So it's, you know, we're doing an awful lot of talking, and we've said all along we'd like to have the dialogue, but when we can't even get the basics here, then you can, it's only logical that adults are going to say, this is, you want some give, then present us with, you know, show us a few cards.
Like all of them.
I think what our colleagues are saying is, we don't know what the project is. You have not satisfied us with the amount of information we need to look at the project. And we've been asking since the first day you presented this, and you have not received the information. The last meeting, Mr. Chandler, I think you'll be fair and say that you did not answer many of the questions that were asked. And we need to have that information. How can we judge the impacts on a road if we don't know how many trucks are coming down the road? We need to have that information. If you don't provide us with that information, we cannot judge your project. And it's vital that we have that information. If you wait till the last day to give us that information, you're not being very fair to us as a community. We're giving you a fair shake. We've welcomed you here. We're willing to listen, but you're not giving us the information that we need.
And a lot of the issues are survival issues. The small historic preservation community with waterfront, on the lake, and we're heavily, heavily impacted by all of this. So we take all of these things one at a time, very carefully, very seriously, and feel that if you're kind of coming into our community, it should be in our terms, and without any way being discourteous or impolite, not trying to throw it back at you, just asking you to the degree you can, tell us where you're at with this.
If I could ask, have you guys met with the State Department of Transportation or county?
We have, with the state.
About the county? Have you met with the
We have
county?
not met with the county yet.
No, they're not on the county.
That's supposed to be scheduled in the first quarter of this year, correct?
I think, if I can add a few comments. What the applicant, what BP is proposing is a project that goes from, will range from 200 to 285 megawatts with potentially up to 125 wind towers.
24?
24, well, okay.
That are 500 feet tall.
They're 500 feet tall. And where the frustration comes in is that is in total abrogation of existing zoning, comprehensive plan, and the impacts that that would have would be, in the judgment of the leadership of this town, somewhat catastrophic. So that may be your max, and I think I hear that very clearly. You set the bar, that's your maximum, that's your best case scenario. But we're looking at a wide variety of impacts that affect the town, and thinking, and really what you're hearing from leadership is that maximum expectation or hope is not realistic within the context of our conversation. It's just not realistic. And it is contrary to the ethos of the town of Cape Vincent by its articulated comprehensive plan and its existing zone. So we're a bit at loggerheads. I understand what you're saying from a seeker standpoint. I identify 124, I identify up to 285. What's the hit? Is it positive or negative? What's the hit? How can you mitigate it? I get it. We do this all the time. I get it. But it ignores, the question ignores existing local law that would preclude even asking that question. Fair statement? Okay. It's not that they haven't identified what they want to do under this application to the PSC. They have. Is it realistic to think that our existing fire department or volunteer fire department can service that? Is it realistic? I'm not a fire person. The answer is no. I'll take a wild ass guess. Okay? I don't think so. Is it safe to say with the introduction of trucks and service vehicles on our existing road network, look at it. Is there going to be an adverse impact? You bet. You bet. How do you mitigate it? That's up to you. I mean, I'm just the lawyer here, but I think that you already know the answer to the question. You need to seek qualification from a third party, as Urban said. You're doing that with the fire department this afternoon. You can do that with the county and the state DOT. Look at the local roads, and then you tell me, based on what your application may be, what kind of traffic do you think that will generate? I don't know. I don't know. But if you can give us the numbers, we can analyze it and maybe get you an answer based on your worst case or best case scenario. Okay?
How long is the project gonna take? What time of year will it be? You know, these are all things that impact that we have no answers to.
I think it was Mr. Byrne who asked you, Richard, had you gone on the PSC's website and seen some of the comments, and if I heard you right, you basically, I'll paraphrase, indicated that you'd seen the numbers. Have you actually read because of hundreds? Where are we now? 214. I think you can, as a PSC or whoever there is reading them, it's clear that it's really not a wanted project. So it's like, you really do have to understand that the majority here doesn't really want this project. And my belief was that BP, as well as Axiona, or anybody else, is not going to come to a town that doesn't really embrace it. The people who embrace it are 3.9% of the population here. And I want to make it clear, and I would hope that the local newspaper would report it, that this group of appointed and elected officials who represent the majority here have made it clear that this is not a project that is embraced. We have said, though, that if you wanted to make a project that would fit within the confines of our law, that would be a business decision on y'all's part. I don't know how much more condensed I could make the argument, but it is, you can say I have the blinders on, or this is the BP way of communicating, and that is, we know it's out there, we're not going to address the quality of the responses, but I'll tell you that the quality of the responses is pretty sufficient for any bureaucrat to say, apparently these people just don't want it.
Let me cut you off there just
Sure.
if I can, with all due respect. If Mr. Harris can, on his client's behalf, prepare what he thinks the impact, what you think the impact's going to be in these vital areas where you're seeking a response from the town, and get that to me, I will try to get the information to respond appropriately, if I can. But again, we are working in a vacuum.
Yes.
We're working in a vacuum here, and I need further input from you as to what you think the impact might be.
That's fine, I mean,
So-
typically, not me, but someone who technically understands what the impacts on the road would be, would sit
Right.
down with someone from your side who also has technical expertise, and they would sit around and say, no, that road will be fine, it will be able to handle the weight, and this road won't be able to handle the weight.
Right.
I'm not, you and I can't have that discussion.
We
because-
can, yeah, but I think if your expert can identify those areas, those areas of impact, then we have a map to follow, and we can be more responsive. Because we don't know, I mean, what's 124 towers going to look like, in terms of the impact of the construction and maintenance of that, and how is that going to impact our roads, our infrastructure, our fire department, and everything else. Done?
This may very well mean that you maybe have to work with the town engineer, because I don't know if our road manager really can talk about compaction rates and
Probably not.
what the load capacity is for shoulders now. Obviously, the turning radius of some of these flatbeds is enormous.
Yeah, but let's call out the question, and then we'll start, then we understand what the nature of the questions are, when we begin to look at providing answers.
Has BP any project now with 500 feet turbines?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Do you have any experience, okay, in putting up a project that has the 500-foot 2.3 or 3.0 megawatt capacity?
I don't know the exact dimensions of our, spinning portfolio right now, but they're similar in nature of, wind turbines that are in the same category of type turbine.
The
Well,
question is, do you
500
have any
500 feet tall.
499-foot turbines
I'm
up?
saying, I don't know the exact dimensions of our.
where they're
2,000
not many,
megawatts.
because they're new.
Well, we've got 2,000 megawatts of spinning turbines. I don't know the dimensions of them. I just don't.
It'd be interesting if you could someone in your technical department might be able to provide that answer, it'd be interesting to see what